Hey guys, what is going on? This is Mio, and I am here today with Florida,
Hi.
and
Uh,
we are here with the GPC Petit Conference post draft power rankings. So let's jump right in. I will say though, I really like the teams this season. They're all really
yeah,
nice, so this was really hard to do.
yeah. I had really hard time. In fact, even like less than an hour before recording this, I was still moving people around, trying to actually trying to put them in their spots. So yeah, it was really hard making these power rankings.
Oh yeah. So anyway, I do believe we'll go with first off. You have the Melbourne Victory Star at rank 10.
Yes. I ranked the Melbourne Victory Star at rank 10. For me, this team, while Greninja XY having the Z moves, having access to like several all a lot of different types of Z moves, I feel that the team is just a little bit weird overall, just to me. He kind of doubled up also in like the fairy. He doubled up on fairies. He drafted Tapu Koko, and while that is good, he also drafted Mega Audino, and I don't necessarily see the point of him uh drafting Audino when he already has a really good fairy type in Koko. Uh,
Yeah, and I think he has three defoggers, which isn't bad, but I think he could have spent his points a little bit better. I
yeah,
think like Empoleon plus Mega Adino is basically his only good defense, which also is not really that hot. He lacks a dragon, which is pretty
yeah,
not
and
good.
yeah, because he probably would have done really well with a Fairy Dragon Steel Core that
Mhm.
he sorely lacks. Uh, also, ah, never mind, I'm good.
All right. Anyway, so next up we have the I believe it's the Seattle Onyx at rank 9. So
Yes, I have the Seattle Onyx at rank 9. Hold on. Okay, here we go. So the Seattle Onyx at rank 9. The reason I put him there, uh, it's kind of a gimmicky team because it is I feel it is supposed to be somewhat of a sand team because he does draft Tyranitar. He has Mega Steel X with Sand Force. But did I say Mega Tyranitar? I'm
it's
sorry.
Z
Just
turn.
Z Tyranitar. Um, but Ah, gosh dang. So first off, double waters, both of them bulky and both of them passive walls. I can understand doubling up on a certain type if you want to have two different mons within that type, but having two bulky walls with like barely any offense, they're mostly there to stall. Also, giving the Z Crystal Tyranitar sort of cripples it because it loves to run berries that help counteract his weaknesses. Maybe Smooth Rock if he's really going for a Santeam, or even Assault Vest to help it live some hits. Also, there's the offensive side with Band or Scarf. So I'm not sure giving the Z Crystal was the greatest idea. Uh, yeah,
An addendum to that, items it loves the type berries, like it loves like
yeah.
sugar, chopple, and anyway, some things I do actually like about this team. I like Jirachi plus Bulu. I just don't know. It just like seems like a very good fairy plus steel. And then there's the
Y-
Zygarde 10, which is nice
Yeah,
on the offense side. I think that's a pretty nice pick, decently. I do agree on the Tyranitar. That's does cripple it, but I don't know if he'll try to like change anything. If he'll like only use it for one match or something. Because I think Eric
yeah.
would know how Tyranitar works. And overall, I do like his defense, but I disagree heavily with the Alamamola pick because Jirachi gets Wish and it can support itself with that Wish nicely. He doesn't really have a second regen for regen core. Mantine functions nicely here on his team. Like,
Uh, y-
yeah.
uh, I'm not. Personally though, I don't know. I guess it does help counteract weakness, but I wasn't 100% on why he drafted Vikavolt on the team. It kind of felt like an outlier, but then I'm seeing now it kind of does help out with his weaknesses on the water side. Uh, but he does have Bulu for that. So yeah, that's all I have for the Onyx.
Anyway, let's move on to our number 8 spot, or your number 8 spot, that is, the Highland Houndooms. So I had them at number 10, but you had them at number 8. Can you tell us why?
So I have the Houndooms. Okay, so give me a second here. So personally, I have the Houndooms a little higher because I did kind of appreciate uh his his attempt, not attempt, that's not the correct word to use here, but I kind of appreciated what he drafted. I did like I do like Feeney, Latias and Nido King. All those are really good mons. Mudsdale, I'm feeling is a really good mon, and Ditto coming in and stealing all the stat boosts could definitely be a help to his team. I put I will point out that outside of like Chestnut, let's see, Chestnut. Outside of Chestnut, there's not. I'm sorry, I'm repeating myself, but outside of Latias, Mudsdale, and Chestnut, there's not really that much bulk on this team. Personally, from what I can see, his only spinner is Sandslash Alola, which is neutral to the rocks, and there is kind of not as big, but I do see a slight there aren't the hardest. Never mind. I'm sorry,
Alright.
but I can't.
That's alright. Anyway, so Finny, it does get defog, which I think is nice. Latios gets defog. I don't like the Sand Slash pick because it was the fourth
No.
pick. It's his only steel type, which does not help him defensively at all. Makes him pretty rocks weak. I don't know what he'll do with it, especially because he doesn't have the hail to go with it, which I would call that passable if he had that. Honestly.
Yeah. Also, I kind of wish he didn't put the Z move on the Staraptor, to be honest with you, because I I've used Staraptor in format before, and I kind of like to bring Scarf for band every week. And he has Porygon Z, and that's a perfect Z move, I think, if it's legal. I'm pretty sure it's legal. But yeah, that's really the only reason I really put the Highland Houndooms low is because they did draft a lot of Mons, and he is rock weak. And I don't agree with the Sandslash Alola pick, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's a really big factor for why I don't like it. I think the Ditto could come in handy just in general. Ditto's a nice pick. I've come to realize recently.
Yeah,
I like the Houndoom actually because he does actually have the Latias Spinny defog support for it, so it doesn't have to take that rocks. But
yeah,
overall, it just feels a little weird. I
yeah.
this
Also, the Lycanroc. The Rotom. I'm not 100%. It's his only Ghost type, and he does have a slight fighting weakness, in my personal opinion. With Sandslash, with Houndoom, Mudsdale somewhat, but not really. Porygon Z, all those Mons, and Rotom's his only Ghost type, and it's pretty easy to take down a Rotom with a neutral hit without a Focus Sash. So
Yep. So that's about all I have to say about this team.
yeah,
I think even though I ranked it at 10, it's still a really solid passable team, and I really hope to see this and all the other teams do well this season.
yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. Like for me, a lot of again, as I said, I was still making changes even less than an hour before we actually started recording. So a lot of these teams overall, they are pretty good. It's just and I'm going purely off the draft because I don't have any personal experience with any of the coaches actually. So they're probably going to prove me wrong over the weeks, probably. So let's move on to number 7.
Yeah, number 7, you have the Lincoln Star Raptors. I have Teaching, but let's go on to the Star Raptors because we're going off your list. And so,
Uh,
yep.
okay, so the Lincoln Star Hold on, I got. Yeah, okay. So Lincoln Star Raptors, they have really good mons. First, let me say that Celesteela, Kyurem Black, Donphan's a great spinner in the format. Mega Beedrill's an offensive powerhouse, but and Chansey, of course, being a pretty reliable wall. But Wall with the great Mons, I personally see a bit of a fire weakness. While he does have Jellicent and Donphan to help that out, I'm not. While he does have Jellicent and Donphan to help that out, I don't. He didn't really try to patch it up. The double bug doesn't help him drafting both Galvantula and Mega Beedrill. And while I understand that you don't want to bring Beedrill every week, and Galvantula does have sticky web support, I can't see past that. And yeah,
Yeah.
and Blaziken does resist fire, but it does not have that much bulk to switch in on many things. So yeah.
So I rank this team at 4 because I really enjoy not only the prospect of webs with Beedrill and Kyron Black and Celesteela and even Blaziken, Togekiss to an extent. I really like the the Fairy Dragon Steel Core he has with his first 3 picks. I like the Mega Beedrill to back him up. The Celesteela in general is
Yep.
one of the strongest new mons overall. It's super strong, super bulky. It has automatize, all that. It can raise its stats after a kill. Kyron Black, it's on his Z move user, so he does not get that Sub-Zero Slammer. But what it does get, it still gets all what it did in Gen 6, which is huge. And
Yeah, because
Togekiss
Kieran
is a
Black has always been a threat, no matter what meta it's in. And I play VDC a lot, and Celesteela, it's hard to take it down with 2 mons. So imagine being in the singles format with the Celesteela. So yeah, definitely a strong, strong mon. And while I did rip a lot into this team, I do actually enjoy this team. I think it may actually do well. A lot of these top 7 for me kind of flip flop their positioning a lot. So yeah.
he something else I really like about it. He can go like playing this offense all out with his webs, or he can go defensive with his Donphan, his Jellicent, his Chansey, his Celesteela can go either way. Even his Togekiss can even go either way. Kyron Black can go bulky, Roos, or something like that. It's all with like a breaker Beedrill. I really like his options for that front, which really places it at a good high mid point for me on the tier. I think
Hmm.
Chansey and Donphan work together decently well just because they have those like one's especially defensive, one's officially defensive. They can switch it on each other pretty nicely, along with Togekiss and Celesteela. I don't know. I just rate this really well on both defensive and offensive, and this is one of the teams I'm most excited to see play. Honestly,
Yeah, I'm even again once again, even though I kind of ripped into them, I do think it may actually do really well. I do like there is a lot of there is bulkier options, but you can also kind of go somewhat offensive with these mons as well. And yeah, I do agree with the ability to be versatile in that category. So yeah, I think the Staraptors may actually do well. I have them at number 7 because I just for some reason couldn't see past the fire weakness when writing my initial list. So yeah,
speaking of fire weakness, now we have the Seattle Scizors.
the Seattle Scissors. Okay,
We
so
both have them under 6, don't we? So
we do. I'm not gonna lie. Actually, I don't have a lot of notes on the Seattle Scissors, but Seattle Scissors. There's not really like he does have. No, I can't say much. Do you have notes that you could quickly say here?
I'd have to pull it up. But in the meantime, I can just say there's a lot going well here in the offensive front with the Lando Eye. It gets Sheer Force, did you believe? Yes. It has the Hydreigon. Those two are like two of the biggest wall breakers in the format, honestly. Especially the Lando Eye, because that gets banned sometimes. So it is huge. And just as well, he's got that offensive side with the Toxapex, the Fortress. He can set up all this stuff and spin the opponents away. He's got the Mega Manectric to help him out with like he's got the Intimidate. He's got the Brave Area, so it's hard to defog on him because the Defiant. He's got his Elf. It can lead his Explosion, Taunt, Stealth Rock, all that. or it can go offensive because it's got really nice offensive, both physical and special. I really like most of the things on his team a lot. Uh, I Embor is a huge wall breaker. I think the
Yeah.
team as a whole just fits together nicely well. I am going to try and pull up the sheet I had up, but I don't know where it is. Uh,
uh, I will say this though, I also yeah, so I do like the bulkiness on this team. You mentioned Embor, one of the best fire wall breakers in the format. I personally like Azelf as a fast, really fast psych. There is options to go bulky, to go offensive. I do actually also like I personally, even though he doesn't have the strongest fairy dragon, not fairy dragon water, sorry, fire water grass core, because Cradilly, but Cradilly can be a surprise wall that, unless you're extremely prepared for it, it could just sit. It can't. I've personally have had matches where it just sits on the field and just toxics everything and just sits there. So yeah, personally, I do like. I like this team. It's a, is and also I like Toxapex. That's one of the most bulkiest non-legendary Gen 7 mon that was introduced, and Baneful Bunker is a good protection. Pick up a random poison every once in a while. So yeah, it's a good team.
it does like a fairy, so he is
Yeah,
actually quite weak to dragon, especially if his fortress goes down. Like make him electric, even most dragons would have earthquake or fire blast even for that fortress. So one thing I would have to say is watch out for dragons and maybe do consider picking up a fairy because you could very well get just completely blown back by him.
yeah,
Talk specs does get haze for setup on them, but yeah, overall it's a solid team. There are some actually quite exploitable weaknesses on it that aren't hard to patch up at all, especially because it just means getting a fairy.
yeah,
But
and like, cause I'm gonna. This is like kind of obvious, but they're like, if you had the budget for it, Alolan Ninetales is on the is would probably help this team out a little bit, being both ice and fairy and be able to outspeed some of the dragons. So yeah, so it's a really easy hold the patch up, be a fairy type, but yeah.
mhm.
Oh, I yeah, let's move on, I guess.
So at number 5, we both actually have the Colorado Avalugs.
Okay, so to be honest with you, I did at one point actually. So my top five was mostly where I made a lot of shifts, and at the one point, the Avalos was near, like almost. Actually, I think was at the top, but looking back over it, so Avalogs, they have a really good an offensive and a defensive team. Salamence and Mega Gardevoir, real. Salamence is one of the again another. I keep saying this, but it's a really good wall breaker in the format. Also can, and with DD set up, Gardevoir is one of my favorite personal megas in the format. Heatran's a great wall, uh, and yeah. Do you have anything to add? Because let me double
Yeah,
check.
okay. Overall, it's a really like good team. I don't really I lost my notes for this, but overall just it has some speed issues. I did notice
Yeah.
that speed
Uh.
it's only on Sneasel, and Sneasel isn't actually that strong, but it has trapping abilities and dual dragons, which is actually really nice because they bring the steel to wall the dragons, and
Uh.
it has some nice fairy. It has some nice fairy switch-ins. Heatran is an especially good one. Magneton not as much unless you're Eviolite. It
Yeah.
has two trapping options, which is actually kind of strange, in my opinion. I don't know about the Gothorita, just because maybe just you wanted the 4 point, you just wanted it, you didn't have anything else to get. But just
Also, I'm gonna point this out. If you draft, there is double steal on this team, and again, I'm okay sometimes with double typings, but don't draft. two steel types that are both quad weak to ground, honestly. I get Magneton could probably take. I don't know if it could take an earthquake actually, but
Magneton would not. I don't even think it takes many earthquakes with
no.
A Violite, because it barely takes hidden power grounds with a Violite, I found.
Yeah, but again, that's the only reason really I kind of dropped it because I noticed that it did have Heatran and Magneton, and both were weak to ground. While he does have Gligar to help patch up that weakness somewhat by being immune, it's not the best patch. Honestly, I mean Gligar can be a great wall and can it is somewhat offensive, but yeah, that's his only real. Also, his real passion. Again, also speed is definitely a thing with Sneasel. I think Sneasel's is only one that's above base 100. I think
Yeah,
I may be wrong in
yeah.
that.
Gardevoir and Salamence are both 100, but he does actually have some nice Scarf options. Heatran and like say Magneton as well if he wants to Scarf trap some steals. Uh, Breloom could Scarf. I've seen Scarf Breloom, of course, even with the Spore.
Yeah,
Even did I say Salamence? I didn't. I know I didn't say
yeah.
either one of. I didn't. I didn't say Heatran maybe, but both of
You
those.
did. You said Heatran. You didn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Also, I just realized that he has two capable Mons that both run Eviolite, so he's just got to watch a little bit for the knockoff, just a little bit, not that much. But overall, again, it is a decent team, and even with the double steal, I'm fine putting it in my top 5. It's a really it I think can perform well. Blastoise is a really good spinner. It does while there are only like I think besides what is it? I think Gligar and I think Salamence gets to fog,
Yeah.
and of course Blastoise gets the rapid spin. Those are his only real hazards, but he doesn't really need that much hazard removal outside of Sneasel, I
Setting up
think.
for Sneasel and Salamence is pretty important, but
Yeah, but he
yeah,
does have enough so he could be differentiating. So he does have a really good team.
I like the team a lot. I just, I don't know. It just they're a bit lacking on some stuff there. I think it's not that it's not a bad. It's not that it's a bad team. It's that honestly, the other teams that are coming up are better in our opinion. I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah. And
So
again, once yeah, it was hard for me, let's just say,
it
putting
was
making this top 5.
awful. It was awful making the top making the top six, five, six for me was awful.
Yeah, it was horrible. All right, moving on. Uh, I have number 4 Rhine Valley Guards. Um, I think that's the correct team name because I once
Yeah.
said
Yep.
I once typed it Rhine Victory Guards, but that's a different. That's never mind. Anyways, so it is a good team. As I've said a lot of times, it is a mix of bulk and offense. I will. The reason I Alola Moke. I'm repeating myself. I'm sorry, but Alolan Moke, Alolan Moke,
Yeah.
Alolan Muck. There we go. Alolan Muck is a pretty good mon with only having the ground weakness, and especially because personally I haven't actually used Alolan Muck yet in the format, but I've had experience with Drapion, and I've heard Alolan Muck's a lot more bulkier, so it's a really good mon. I
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
That's
Oh, oh,
ooh,
I'm gonna say one more thing. The reason I put it a little bit lower is because I wasn't the biggest fan of his Fairy Dragon Steel Core. Because personally, I'm not the biggest fan of Klefki in the format. I don't know why. It's never agreed with me. And relying purely on Klefki and Mega Charizard X, I do understand, and that's just my personal opinion.
mhm.
You can add on
And I think actually with the team he has around those two, he can. Well, I don't think he built a team around those two, but those he didn't build a team around Klefki as much. I can definitely see like it's around the Zapdos, it's around the Zard, it is around the Klefki a little bit,
a little
but the
bit. Yeah,
Klefki has the support options that the team really loves. It's got uh for itself, it's got the magnet rays, I believe. It got the toxic. It's got the dual screens. It's got the spikes. It's got
Yeah,
the uh,
and I just
toxic,
realized
whatever.
those dual screens can definitely help Mega Charizard X get in, and Charizard X really appreciates getting a turn to be able to either Dragon Dance or get off a massive hit.
Yeah.
So yeah, Klefki does work on this team.
Hmm.
Uh, Miltank is a really good mon. Has actually, it personally surprised me to find out because it is a bulky mon, but it actually has a decent speed tier as
Oh yeah,
well.
it's
I
got
think it's base
100.
110,
It's 100, but
100.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
base 100, but it's a really good speed tier, especially for a wall. So you can
Mhm.
run an offensive Miltank if you really wanted to.
Oh yeah, you can definitely. And he's got for the Klefki and the Zard, he does have really good switch ins to the ground type, which both are weak to, and also for the Muck, that's weak.
Oh
He's
yeah,
got the Zapdos, he's got the Aerodactyl, he's got the Mesprit both with Levitate, he's got the Mismagius with Levitate, and I think because Aerodactyl and Mesprit and Miltank all get Stealth Rock, those are good.
yeah,
Those are good mons to help support the team. He's got Starmie for good. Starmie is an amazing spinner, and Aerodactyl can do defog decently well. I think his Fire Water Grass is actually it's like really nice and fast.
yeah.
Sceptile I actually really like on the team. Just a random note, just because it is fast, it can act as a revenge killer on something to help alongside his rest of his team. Diggersby with its super huge
And
power boy.
I could say this, Diggersby, as hard as it hit, you could set up with the 3 stealth rockers and spikes on the Klefki. You could really whittle down Mons
Ooh
and
yeah,
set up for a sweep by either like Mega Charizard X with Dragon Dance or even a Diggersby. Because Diggersby does hit like a truck, just even, but it does have
yeah.
a
Agility Diggersby is insane
agility.
on
Yeah,
this team. Honestly, like and also uh he's got the pursuit on Muck. I don't know. I just really like that because a lot of a lot of things he can just switch that in. You can just switch that in. He doesn't really have like the psychic weeks to abuse that dark typing with. He doesn't have any.
yeah.
He doesn't actually have any psychic weak. I don't believe. So that's a little bit
No, it
straight.
doesn't.
So that's a little bit not as nice, I don't think. But if he had a good like abusable psychic weakness for that muck and pursuing, I don't know. I think that'd be really nice. And like
I mean,
this,
it's always good to have it in the back pocket.
yeah.
So
And I think that's just one minor thing that I don't think is the greatest. But overall, he's got so many options. I like the Z move on Mismagius actually a lot.
yes,
That's a good mon to put
because
it on so much.
yeah, it does. I'm sorry, I should have probably done my research, but it does have a lot of. It has somewhat a large amount of coverage moves, like Mystic Fire could pull out of a random Inferno Overdrive on something that's not
Yeah,
expecting it.
it's got like
Maybe like a
electric
yeah,
and fairy and what else? Like psychic, psychic,
obviously
dark,
Ghost. And,
dark ghost.
yeah, and I think it does have Ice. Actually, I'm pretty
Ooh, I
sure
think
it
it has
does.
it does have icy winds. Yes, remember that.
Um, but anyways, yeah. So that is that team. It's a really good team. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna probably have to defend myself on this one.
All
So
right.
the next one is the number 3, the Miami Heatran, who you have at number 7.
It's
So
hard to put me. I think I originally had him at 6, but I moved him down. But anyway, go ahead.
okay, hold on. Let me pull up the team. All right, here it is. All right. So I like the team personally. It is okay. First off, it's a somewhat slow team. I will point that out. Besides Superior, besides Absol, um,
Well, Absol is
but
only base 70.
yeah, Absol is base 70. Sorry, but I like it mostly because I do feel a little bit of team synergy, just a little bit, with the scissor, with the scissor and the aromatisse a little bit because I feel aromatisse could be a good trick room mon just to catch a couple of mons who are like sped crept to outspeed maybe a Scizor, maybe a Maxi Garchomp or something, trick it out, trick room, and completely throws everything off. I love Lantern, actually, personally. Serperior is a great wall breaker. Keldeo Scizor, Garchomp hit hard. Arcanine can be a wall. I personally like this team. Yuxi is actually my favorite Pokemon in the format because I love Stealth Rock. I love the U-turn pivot. So for me, I just like this team. And I yeah, hold on. There is okay. So I understand also one other thing. There is double water. I see that, but Lantern is mostly a wall, and Keldeo is offensive. And I feel if you have two, like earlier with the Seattle Onyx, I think it was, where you have two passive water walls, that's kind of a problem. But I feel if you alternate Lantern and Keldeo, one being a little bit more bulkier and the other one being more offensive, I feel like that's okay. Also, Lantern kind of does mitigate any. I don't think there was really an electric weakness or a water weakness, but with Volt Absorb and what is it, Water Absorb.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the only reason really I like this team. It feels to me like it synergizes a little bit well. I get Aromatisse is a little bit out there, but I'm okay.
And really looking back on it, I might have ranked this team too low. I noticed that Arcanine can support Caesar well, and that Lantern can support Arcanine well, but Mega Caesar is his only defogger,
Yes,
which
that
sucks. It's
that
the only form of Hazard Clear in general, which I don't like. It's the only form of Hazard like even deterrent. He doesn't have Magic Bounce or whatever. I don't even know that he has Magic Coat, maybe Uxley. But like
uh
Caesar just it can't defog that well because I don't know. That's not on this team. It just doesn't defog that
I
well.
know that may be another reason why I think I'm starting to see I may have ranked this one. You ranked it a little too low. I think I may have ranked it a little bit too high. I do think it may have deserved like either a sixth spot or a fifth spot, but I understand the problem with being defogger, but other than the Arcanine and maybe the Lantern, I don't see it being too bad, and it's pretty easy just to patch it to pick up a
Yeah,
defogger somewhere along, or maybe even another spinner. Because I
yeah.
understand that putting a defog on Mega Scizor is not something you want because you want You're probably going to want either four offensive moves or something else
You're gonna want
on
SD.
there,
You'll want like probably SD in my
or
opinion.
another
SD
support move
Roost,
or
yeah.
something like yeah.
Like, cause this
So
thing SD roosts really nicely on the team more than it does defog.
yeah, but I do under yeah. So but again, I just feel I'm okay, honestly, with the team. I do understand now that I did kind of rank it a little bit too high, but but it's still, I still think it may do decently. Again, it's an easy patch. Just pick up another hazard removal, and it might be a lot better. So
Yeah, I'm actually gonna speak from experience here. I've seen a team like this before. It was Mega Caesar, Garchomp. It had Arcanine and Uxie. It had Lantern, and it also had Grand Bull instead of Aromatisse, and that worked well because he could do the dual intimidate Arcanine Grand Bull, which was really good. But one major thing, he did have Blastoise, or I think it was Tentacool later on because he traded. But this having the second clearing in general makes people not want to hazard stack you, and makes people like it'll save your team from not from taking as much like rocks damage as it would.
and it stops you again, as I said, from crippling that Mega Scizor and forcing it to bring the fog every week.
Yeah,
So
and just as
again,
well, unless having that, I don't know. I think dual intimidate's really good on this team personally, because
yeah,
like more than the wish is, I just because Mega Caesar and Arcanine get their own recovery. Superior probably might Superior
uh,
would actually kind of
I
appreciate
think
that wish,
it does appreciate that wish because it is kind of frail and it does
but
get worn down
it
if it
does
runs Life Orb.
it would also appreciate the like not taking as much from attacks with intimidate because you can do that. I don't know. I just think Grand Bull would be a nice addition personally, just
Yeah,
from my experience. I don't know, but
yeah.
I kind of do like the Keldeo here. Honestly, yeah, I like the Keldeo here. I don't know.
I,
Keldeo's a good mon. I don't know. Hmm.
I've never actually personally never used Keldeo in the format, but it I've heard it's a pretty good mon. It can. people used to say that it's kind of paper cut, and then like not paper cut, but like not that versatile and not It's supposed to
It's
bring this,
not.
and
Oh, it
then
doesn't. Ooh.
someone I think it was Envy who like completely changed it, but um,
No, it
yeah,
couldn't run like it couldn't like sub calm mind. It can run like just general calm mind. I don't know. It just like it got specs. It got scarf. It's got life or leftovers. Whatever you want to
and
run on it.
occasionally someone whips out a physical Keldeo, and it completely surprises everyone. But no, it's actually a decent team, but I am seeing now there are some flaws that I think needs to get patched. If it's going to want
Yeah.
to do well, it is a pretty decent, it is a pretty good team though. Anyways, I think that's all we can say about this, and
Now we are on to the number
I
two.
think
Yeah.
we did agree on the
We
top
do it.
two.
Yeah, we do agree on the top
We
two.
agree on the top two.
So
Uh,
yeah, number two is Chelsea.
Chels, I think it's like Chelsealio. Yeah.
Yep.
Um. Again, as this is another team I moved up a lot in like the I guess the penultimate hour. And when I was first ranking it, I didn't see how good the Mons were, and then I looked back over the team. And I'm like, wait, he has Marowak Lola. That's one of the new, that is a really good, with its ghost fire typing, it is a really good offensive mon nowadays. He has Magirna Z, and oh my gosh, that hits hard. I've Kamala, as I've heard, is also really good. It has rapid spin as well, so that's his hazards. He
Mhm.
also has Blastoise to be a rapid spinner, so he has double spin options, which is really good. Crocodile, great with a lot of items. Latios, I was just looking over it, and I'm like, this team is really good.
Hmm. Actually, this team has a lot of my favorite ones. I don't know. It's like general. I don't know. I love Magirna. I love Marowak. I love the Mega Blastoise. Shaman, Latios, Crook. Like the first six, even seven, I like Crash Crook. In general, are just some of my personal favorites. And even past that, they just work so well together here. Because Magirna Z, especially, because it can't run the Shuka or the Akka that I like to run personally all the time. So it's got the Marowak and the Blastoise to get rid of the fire weakness, and also the Latios. To get rid of the ground weakness, it's also got the Latios on the Shaman and Yanma. But
Yanma, yeah.
anyway,
I will point out Yanma might actually be okay. I could actually see it coming at least once or twice, maybe just to
I
pass
think
off some speed. Honestly,
does it get
to
speed
like
boost? Does it get put on pass?
it does get speed boost.
It gets speed boost. I don't think it gets baton
It
pass.
does get speed boost.
I don't know if it gets
And
baton pass. Is what I was saying. I don't know.
oh yeah, never mind. Ignore me. I had
Yeah.
that in my head for some reason.
Okay.
But anyways, so yeah, no, it's a really good team. I've used Takakroak on back in the Gen 6 ladder. It's a really good mon.
Oh yeah.
Crooked Shaman with the all around 100 base stats. Not gonna lie, I have not used Marowak. I don't know. I've used Marowak in VGC, but I've not used Magirna. But I know it hits hard with a Flare Cannon. Uh,
It just got
and and giving it the Z, just nothing's living any of its Z moves, I don't think, honestly, with you.
like
Uh,
yeah. If you look at it, it's really on paper it's an insanely offensive team, especially those first like six. It's got the
yeah,
electrode speed, which is nice, but anyway, it's insanely offensive, but its defensive synergy within that is absolutely crazy in my opinion. Just because he can switch on most anything, cause like his Magirina, Latios, Marowak, like Blastoise alone, switching on anything. But
yeah.
yeah, and like
And if
all
he
those things are both.
wanted, and also because he has Kamala, and if he wanted to mitigate the ghost weakness, he just brings Kamala and switches it in
Yeah,
on the
or
incoming
or you
ghost types.
yeah, or you just push in crocodile and use pursuit or
Yeah,
something. Yeah,
yeah,
it's that's I just love this team so much, but it does have some weaknesses, of course. Like it is pursuit weak itself. I've noticed besides from Magirna, but
yeah,
like dark weak itself. But it just it just works.
yeah.
It just works.
It has really good synergy, and that's why it's number two. It's a really good team. And then, so I guess what we can say for the Celestilio. And finally, both of us agree on this one actually, because this is another change I made last minute. I moved the Seattle Seadras up to number 1. Um, So first off, I'm gonna say it from personally from seeing it. It is bulky. That's seems to be the theme of this team. To be honest with you, it does. But I will say also, it does have a lot of offensive capabilities, especially with Infernape. Fable can be a surprise, like hard hitting Mon. Metagross is really good at hitting. Jolteon, of course. Um,
Don't forget Megalodios. That is
Oh,
crazy.
I don't, I can't believe I skipped that. No, Megalodios. Yeah. That it was Megalodios one of the ones that was like on the ballot to get banned. I think it was. It
Honestly,
just,
I have no idea. I'm gonna be honest, but I
but
probably was.
it was, yeah. So also I do actually, a lot of these teams, I didn't like exactly where they put their Z moves, but putting Z move on Infernape just increases the unpredictability of when he's gonna bring the Z moves. Because even though Infernape does like having items, and you can bring items a lot, Infernape Z allows you to hit hard, and he has so much coverage, uh, and you can run special or physical, I think,
Yeah. Oh yeah,
on those
definitely.
Z moves, yeah, because you could pull out a random grass, like a random Bloom Doom, I think, because it gets access to the Grass Knot.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, and then so yeah, I just this number 1 team because it has a mix of bulk and offense, and I just like it, love it so
Yeah.
much.
It's definitely not lacking on speed because that's Jolteon, and Jolteon's really good here. It can switch it on like the electric move that Mandibuzz hates. It can like, and then you have the of course the defensive. You have I like the Gastrodon, the Gourgeist. I like this lower tier this defensive because
Yeah,
they work. He's got the you can run whatever like he can run burn with the Gourgeist. You can defog with a Mandy really easily.
and
Megalodios, Clefable, and Metagross is a super good like Dragon Fairy Steel core
yeah.
because it's just like I don't even let us do so much. It's crazy.
It, it is a really good team. I actually wrote on my notes hashtag too much bulk because I actually had Cedra's a little bit lower, and then looking back it up and like, wait, Infernape's on that team, Jolteon's there, Megalodios, of course. But yeah, no, it's a really, really good team, and that is why I have it as my number 1. Um, so yeah, that I guess that is the end of our power rankings. Uh,
Yeah,
I don't have anything.
yeah, I do want to make one more note. I do actually think that Infernape and Megalodios are his two like main offensive sources, maybe besides Jolteon. So maybe that's a little bit more predictable than it seems. But those three and those three at all are just crazy anyway. So
Anyways,
yeah, that's all.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I guess that's the end of the GPC Petit Conference power rankings for season 6 post draft. Yay.
Yep. All right. That's all from me too. Peace.